Hello, I am Jamie Ballard of Cupcakes Haystacks, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to create a boho-inspired dated digital planner. Now before we actually begin our digital planner creation, what we need to do is we have a whole variety of different elements we need to collect, and we have a few really important decisions that we need to make as far as the actual digital planner creation goes. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to put together a cohesive theme or brand for your digital planner design. And in this particular video, it is going to be boho inspired. I'm going to walk you through my process of discovering my font pairing, which is going to be made up of at least 2, but no more than 3 complementary fonts. We are going to pick out any textures that we need. Like you can see here, we have a wood background, and then we have this craft paper cover, and then there are a few more other textures that are going to be found throughout this entire design. I'm going to show you how to pick out a really great pattern, or maybe a variety of different patterns that you'd like to use. We are going to find some great clip art, and then some real life elements, and all of that together is going to make a really beautiful design. Then what I want to do is I'm going to point out a few different options that you have as far as the actual digital planner creation, whether you want to create from scratch or whether you prefer to work from templates, okay? And to round it all out, I'm going to walk you through putting all of these different elements that we have discovered into a mood board, okay? And if you really like this particular brand or theme that I'm putting together here, you are in luck, because down in the description you are going to find a link to a cowgirl boho branding kit, and you will find linked all of the different elements that we are going to discover throughout this video, so that once you finish this tutorial and you have gotten access to that branding kit, you will be able to have everything right at your fingertips to create a design that's very similar to this one here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Now before we start actually picking out our elements, we first want to have just a basic understanding of what boho design is. Now for most people, when they hear the word boho, a specific scene or colors pop into their head, and for a lot of people that may be kind of like a desert theme with sand and cacti, and then your color palette is going to be fairly neutral. There will be creams, tans, beiges, with maybe some pops of clay worked in here and there. And while that's not wrong at all, there are actually a lot of other things that you can work into a boho design in order to make it your specific style. So boho itself, it's very free-spirited. It's very connected to nature. So if you think about what your favorite nature scene is, whether it's a mountain, a forest, the ocean, your favorite lake house, okay? A really good sunset, a field of flowers, all of those things would be considered to be boho, okay? So you can think about the things that you like about that specific scene, whether it's the color palette or the natural elements that you would find there. For instance, if it's a beach scene, then you're going to work in colors of the ocean, the sky, the sand, and then the elements. Again, you have the sand, you have seashells, okay? All of those things you can use within your designs to create an overall ocean boho design, all right? So for me, what I'm going to be working on today is a cowgirl boho design. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going to be mixing in a couple different boho scenes, which is very true to the style. You'll often find different cultures coexisting with one design. So I'm going to be pulling some from the desert, the Wild West, but then also some very dainty feminine touches that are also found within nature. Okay, so let's go ahead and start shopping. Alright, so I'm here at creativemarket.com. This is where I choose to purchase all of the elements that I use within my digital designs that I'm going to be reselling, and I do that for several reasons. First, Creative Market has a ton of different options available to you. You can do a search for just about anything, and you're probably going to get close to 1 million results, which is amazing, okay? Another reason that I like to use Creative Market is that with my purchase, I get a very clear commercial license. So I know exactly how I can use this particular element that I've purchased within my designs, okay? That commercial license is what gives me permission to resell whatever product it is that I create using those elements. Now, there are other platforms that you can choose to purchase things from. Etsy is another popular one, but I will caution you that if you are choosing to purchase from a platform like Etsy, you need to make sure that the seller is allowing you a commercial license that will allow you to resell whatever product it is that you've created using their art, okay? So I am here within Creative Market, and I'm going to start my search by looking for what I would call the centerpiece of my design, okay? So there are going to be smaller, lesser important parts of your design, like maybe the fonts or your textures and such, but in order to find the right fonts and the right textures and the right colors, you first need to start with what you consider to be the most important part of your design. And for me, and in this particular project, I think it's going to be my clip art, okay? I want to find clip art that very specifically translates my cowgirl boho theme, and then I'll build everything else around that. So I'm going to do a search for that first. Now, when it comes to searching in Creative Market and pretty much anywhere, because there are so many search results, you need to be very intentional with your keywords. So the more specific you get with your keywords, the better results you're going to find. So I'm just going to type in here right off the bat, cowgirl boho, and see what I come up with. If I don't find the exact style that I'm looking for, then I'll switch up the keywords. Like maybe I'll put in Western boho or Desert boho and see if I get some better results. So go in here, and here we go. Now, a lot of times what I like to do is I like to find a bundle that's going to include both patterns and it's going to include clip art. Because I have such a specific idea in my head this time around, I'm not sure that that's going to be the best route for me, but I'm still going to at least attempt it. Now, the reason I like to do that is because I know that if I buy a bundle by the same artist, everything's going to go together. I'm not going to have to worry about different items clashing, okay? Also, a lot of times it's better for your pocketbook, okay? If you're getting everything that you need, or most everything that you need in one bundle, then you're not having to purchase numerous other products. So let's take a look at this one first. This one is Coastal Cowboy, so I don't really think I want beach in there at all, but this is a really cute set. This one, it looks like it's it doesn't have any patterns in it. It's just the clip art. So let's see what else we've got. Let's take a look at this one here. So this one looks like it's mostly just clip art as well. But sometimes even looking at ones that you think may not quite be a good fit are still going to give you a better idea of what it is that you're looking for. That's really cute. Something like that would be really cute in my design. We do have a cowboy here, but I'm very specifically looking for cowgirl. So I'll head back. And usually what I'll do is I'll do a search. I'll go through 10 pages. If within 10 pages I have not found exactly what it is that I'm looking for, chances are I need to adjust my keywords a little bit. But I am very interested in this right here. Look, we've got our cowgirls. Okay, so I'm going to expand this to see everything that's included. Alright, so we have our colored clip art, and we have our line art, and I really like this line art. So a lot of times when I'm adding clip art to my pages, like outside of the cover and the dividers, I like for it to not have any color. Sometimes it's just a little bit too much, in my opinion, just with my specific style, to have all of my my graphs, my calendars, and all that kind of stuff for my planner and then colored clip art on top of that. A lot of times I like to have line art that I can match in color to my font, my text, my tables, all of those things. So I really like that they have this. And they do have some patterns. I like this pattern here, but the picture I had in my head was a little bit brighter. Okay, so this is really nice too. This particular artist has created the line art in 3 different colors. Okay, you can get it in ivory, clay, and black. I really like that it's in this clay or this brown color, because a lot of times I don't like the content on my pages to be just plain black. So I'd be really tempted to add this clay colored line art to my design. Okay, so this is a definite option for me. I'm going to go back and we just want to check on a few other things, okay? So first, of course, we want to take a look at the price. So you can see here we have a personal option, but like I mentioned, we need to make sure that we have our commercial license. This one is set at about $45. That is probably about as high as I would go as far as the prices. I wouldn't grab it if I was like not really sure if I was going to use a specific product that I was purchasing, but it's not on the cheapest end either, so you do need to make sure that you know what your budget is as far as purchasing this stuff here. Okay, we want to make sure that it's at a 300 DPI, which this is here, and we want to make sure that we are going to get PNG files, okay? Some of these bundles, you'll fall in love with them, but then you'll find out that they're only compatible with like Photoshop or Illustrator, okay? And that's not going to suit my purposes here, because I want to use these files and be able to drop them directly into my Keynote design. Or if you were using Affinity Publisher or something along those lines, they'd just be ready to drop in. Now, it's not horrible if you have the option of both PNG and something like Illustrator, because if you do have access to Illustrator and you find a bundle that you really like but the colors don't quite match, you could then open your clip art or your patterns and such inside of Illustrator, change up the colors, export them, and then bring them into your design. But let's see here. So what's included? You get PNGs, JPEGs, SVGs, AIs, and EPS. So this is a really great option here. And let's expand. I usually like to know what the size of my clip art and everything is going to be, especially if I plan on using patterns. I want to make sure that my pattern is going to be big enough that it is not going to be pixelated once I add it to my design. So I can see here that the let's see, 12-inch by 12-inch digital papers. So that should probably be big enough. Another thing that you can do is you can preview the files here in Canva. I like that. So you can see that there are 162 different PNGs. If you do choose to open your images within Illustrator and make changes so it looks like everything is just within one document, which can be handy. Alright, so I think that I would be really satisfied with this. I'm just going to do a little bit more of a look-see to see if there's anything that I like better, but I really like this, so it's definitely at the top of my list. Alright. Ooh, let's look at this hippie cowgirl. This is interesting to me. This one just has the clip art, and I don't like that they don't have a ton of information on this one. I don't think that it's quite what I'm looking for. It looks as though there isn't going to be any black or even that darker color of the line art. So that's out for me. Ooh, I like this one. Let's do a preview. I like that there's the option again for the colored clip art, and then it's available in black as well. And there are a variety of patterns. I like that. I don't think that I like the line art style quite as much as I did the other one though. This looks like it's cute, but again it's going to be cowboy instead of cowgirl. Let's take a look at this one. Those are cute. I actually like this two-tone here because what I could do is, this isn't so distracting that I wouldn't feel comfortable adding this onto my planning pages, and then my font and my calendars and such, if I wanted, could be this brown color, and then just have these accented black portions within the line art. Cute. Like the flowers. This is a nice bundle. I do still think I like the other one a little bit better. Yeah, the patterns. Alright, so I'm gonna head back over to that other one. I'd be tempted to use this in a future design. But I think this time I'm going for something just a little bit different. So I'm going to come back up here and I want to take a look at that line art again because I have an idea in my head. So I'm not 100% sold on all of the colors, but I just really love this art here. So you can see that we have the cowgirls with flowers, which is kind of the little bit dainty look that I was going for. This would look really great on a planner cover. Then we have the cowgirl boots, the little bouquets, and I just really like that it's that clay brown color as well. And I think that this is simple enough that I might actually be able to find a pattern in a brighter color that I can make work with this. And then I would have these patterns available to me for another project if I wanted. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I am completely sold on this line art, so now what I want to do is I want to find a pattern that's going to go with this. And what I'm looking at here are these flowers here. And I feel like I might be able to find a pattern that kind of mimics those same flowers, okay? Alright, so I'm going to purchase this and then I'm going to take a look at patterns. Alright, so I'm back here at the main creative market page, and I want you to see that I have actually just opened up a new tab because what I want to do while I'm looking at patterns is I really want to make sure that they go well together. I don't want my design to clash. So I'm going to keep this particular window open that has this line art that I plan on using that I can scooch on over and look at while I am searching for my patterns, just to make sure that everything goes well. Alright, so I'm back here at the main page and now I need to do a search for my pattern, okay? And I think what I want to go for is more of a simple, like ditzy florals, what it's called. And that's going to be just like a smaller flower. It's not going to be anything huge and bold, but I do want to have some brighter colors, okay? So let's go ahead and search. So you could do boho florals and such if you wanted, and actually let's just start there. I have a feeling that the flowers are probably going to end up being bigger and bolder than what I'm looking for, like what you can see right here. And while I really like some of these, I want the style to be a bit more dainty, a little bit more reserved, except for the color, because we don't want to have two completely different themes going on, okay? Alright, so I'm going to come back up here and I'm just going to type in Ditzy Floral Pattern. So you can see that this is probably something more similar to what I'm going to be looking for, but I want the flowers to look like my clip art. And again, we want to make sure that we are looking for those earth tones. Like, I'm probably not going to pick out like a pastel like this. And again, I'll go through about 10 pages, and if I don't find what I'm looking for, then I'll switch up. I kind of like this right here, but I don't think that those flowers are going to be a match. This would be really cute in a brighter color. Let's see how close. I don't think this is the one I'm going to pick, but I want to see how close those flowers are. So I'm going to pay attention to the petals and the leaves. It's a little bit different. I'm looking right here. I guess we could look at these as well. This is probably my longest process in creating my digital planners, is picking out these foundation elements. But it's probably one of the most fun parts too. Oh, that's a really cute pattern. Okay, I'm not using this, but I really feel like I need to look at it. That's super cute. I would use that for something. Cats and flowers. I'm gonna have to file that one away. One thing that I want to pay attention to in this as well is that I'm already buying a $45 product for the line art, so I don't want to get too crazy with whatever pattern or patterns that I use, because before you know it, you're spending over $100 for all of your elements or more. And honestly, once you start selling your product, you're going to earn that money back. But I just want to make sure that I'm not getting too out of control. Cottage garden. That's a really good term. Like this particular one right here, I like. But I want more bright colors, I think. But I'm going to file away that keyword in case this one doesn't work. And this is my 10th page. Ooh. like these. You can see that it's very similar if you look to the style that this particular pattern is right here, but it looks like she's got several color variations. So when I see something that I like but's not quite on the mark, and you can see that an artist has created numerous patterns, sometimes it's a good idea to go in and look to see what else they have. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on her name right here, and it's going to take me to her shop, and then I will see all of the different patterns that she's created. And I can already tell you I love this one right here. I'm just going to do a quick scroll through. And look, we have it in the green also. Oh, that's super cute. But that blue, I really like that blue color. That's cute for a different project. Alright, I'm going to go back, because once you find something that you really love, you might as well just see how it looks. Alright, so I'm going to open this up, and let's take a look at these flowers here with the leaves. And another thing, before I even look at that, look, we have this brown color in here as well, which makes me think that it might be a good match for the line art as far as color goes. Alright, so let's click on, here we go. Zoom in here. I think that's a really good match. The flower is similar. The leaves aren't too far off, but I think that these would work really well together. And then look at the brown. And then we have that clay color. I think this is going to be a really good match. And let me take a look at the green as well. You can see that they are all earth tones, which of course is what we want. We have the blue, we have that cream color, we have green, we have brown, we've got that clay color in there. And I think this is the same with just the green in the back instead of the blue. I really like that. Alright, so I think, oh, I didn't even look at all the other things. I'm getting ahead of myself. Alright, so I want to look at the price point, I need to look at the DPI, and I need to look at the size of the pattern. Alright, so it's $10. That's not completely out of control. Although usually I buy a bundle, so I'll be kind of splurging on this one. The dimensions of the paper are over 8,300 pixels in each direction, which is far above and beyond of what we actually need, so that is awesome. Let's see here. We'll preview the files. It's available as EPS and JPEG. So JPEG is usually what I go for when it comes to the patterns, so that is good. Alright, so I think this is going to be a good fit. So we have our pattern, we have our line art, and now there's a few other things we need to grab. How about we take a look at our fonts next? Alright, so I've opened up a new Creative Market tab. I have my other ones open still so that I can flip back and forth and compare, because again, we want to make sure that our fonts go well with whatever other design elements we've chosen, because you may not realize it, but the font that you choose is actually a piece of art that you're using within your design. Okay, now when I'm working with digital design, I typically like to select 3 different fonts. One is going to be your decorative title font. Okay, it's going to be big, it's going to be bold, it's going to grab attention. This one can usually be a little bit more fun or whimsical than the other fonts are, because you're only going to use this font for titles, for headlines, for short phrases. Okay, so you don't need to worry so much about readability. The second font that you're going to choose, it's going to be like your supporting font. Okay, it's going to be like your your secondary headline. So this one, it can still be fun, it can still be true to whatever design it is that you're working with, but it needs to not draw quite as much attention as your main bold decorative font, okay? It needs to be a little bit easier to read maybe if you were to use it for a longer phrase or a short sentence, and you want to make sure that when you're looking at the design, your eye is going to go first to that main headline font and then second to that secondary font, okay? Then you're going to want to have a third font. This font is going to be super boring. It's going to be easy to read. This isn't something you need to purchase, okay? Just pick a basic, easy to read font that you don't hate in whatever software program that you're going to be using. This is going to be the font that you'll be using to write complete sentences, paragraphs, okay? Sometimes if something is really small, like the numbers in your calendar, that's the font you're going to be using for it, okay? So it doesn't need to be fancy. Don't feel like you need to purchase a new font for the purpose of your copy text. And if you feel like 3 fonts are too many, then just go for 2, okay? Go for your main decorative font, skip on that secondary font, and then have a font that's basic and easy to read, okay? But I like the 3. So what we're going to be doing now is we are going to pick out our main decorative font and then our secondary headline font as well. So for the main font, I'm already pretty sure I want to have like a very Western style font, okay? This is going to be seen on the date on my cover, and then also for some of the headlines or titles on my planning pages. So let's start with that one. So right off the bat, I'm just going to type in Western font. We'll see what we come up with. Alright, so you can see there are a lot of different options here. We have over 220,000 results. I like this one. Let's take a look at Howdy Handsome. So sometimes you'll find that you have some really great options with these that'll have a number of different fonts within it, and I think that's what this one is here. So there are a total of 48 different fonts within this one. And one of the things that I like about Creative Market is I can actually type in the particular words that I'm going to be using this font with and make sure that it's readable and it looks how I want it to look before I invest and I purchase it. So let's see here. We have, that rope is really cute. Let's view all 48. There are a lot of different variations of this rope. Ooh, I like this right here. We have some shadow options. Looks good. So the only thing I'm not certain about is when it comes to my main decorative font, a lot of times I'm going to be writing it in capital letters. And so since I'm going to be using it for capital letters and for the date or the year on my cover, I need to make sure that those two things work. So the first one I'm going to look at is just the date. So right now it's 2025, or it's 2024, but I'm creating my 2025 planners. So I want to see what that looks like. And it looks cute in the rope. But it looks like in this other font that when it's letters, it has like a little line through it that looks very Western. That doesn't show up with the numbers. It's distressed a little bit, but we don't have that line that I like. Alright, so now we want to see what it looks like in all capitals. So let's put in January. And we can see that we definitely do not want to use all capitals when it's the rope, because it just looks kind of funky, or really funky. It just looks bad. That's cute. But I feel like with all of these fonts here, I don't really know how often I'm going to be using this particular one, and it just doesn't really seem to fit all of my needs, even though it is super cute. and this one would be 40. One thing I want to point out is that you only need the desktop version. I think because we're creating designs that are going to be used on iPads and such, a lot of people think that they're going to need the web font or they're going to need the EPUB specifically, but that's not the case, because when we're creating digital planners and digital journals, we are creating PDF documents, okay? And these documents are made to not be edited. So desktop version will apply. So let's go back. Ooh, what about this one? I think that I really like, the rope is cute, but I think I like this look more, where it's like a thick font and then we have that that extension from the center. I don't even know what to call that. Ooh, look how that looks like with January. Oh, that's so cute. And then we have a distressed option also. This one is also a lot more affordable, 15. Alright, let's put in 2025. Let's see if our numbers work. Yes. Alright, so we've got that in there. Yeah, that's super cute. I want to see what lowercase looks like. So I did half uppercase, half lowercase. So what it does is it just makes it smaller. So then if I wanted to just have one letter capitalized, that looks good too. Alright, I think that I'm going to grab this one, okay? So that's just 15, I'm good with that. And then we want to do another search for our secondary. So you can do your secondary font however you want. I personally almost always do a handwritten or a script font. I think that it's a really great variety. I just really like how it looks. So that's how I'm going to roll. But don't feel like you have to use a script or a handwritten font as well if it's not something that really floats your boat. So I'm going to, for this one, I want it to be very free-spirited. I want it to be flowy. So for that reason, I want to use the Boho term in it. So I'm going to do Boho script. Oh my gosh. Look at this right here. It's like it's meant to be. Even has cowgirls in it. If this doesn't work, I'm going to be sad. Alright, so this one I will use sometimes for phrases. So we want to make sure that it worked for that. We just want to make sure it has a good flow and that it's easy to read, okay? Because with some of the scripts or the handwrittens, they're just so hard to read. They're cute in design, but they just aren't really user-friendly for your customers, okay? So I'm going to type in month at a glance. That's super cute. It's very unique. You can see it's flowy, it's free-spirited, and I think that it would look really good with our, I think it would tame down and soften up our Western font a little bit. And let's just see what numbers look like in this one. I think that's good. It has a decent amount of space between the letters as well, which we can change spacing in our letters and such, but it's easier to not have to make too many changes. And let's see. I think this is going to be a really great one. Yay! And this one's 15 as well. So all of my fonts combined are going to be 30. And sometimes it may seem a little bit overwhelming when you are choosing to invest in specific designs, but I think that this is actually a font that I would probably use in a lot of different circumstances. So I'm okay with splurging in purchasing more than one instead of getting a bundle that has several different ones for me to choose from for one project, okay? But definitely you need to find what works for you, but this I love, so I'm definitely going to grab it. And I mean, how perfect is that? It already has the cowgirls in it and everything. Alright, so these are going to be, we have picked out our clip art, our pattern, and I think for the pattern within the branding kit that you can download down below, I'm going to put both the blue option and the green option for you because I think that they're both beautiful and would be perfect in a cowgirl boho design. I'm going to have both the Western and then this Rodeo Cowgirls font linked for you as well. And next, what we want to figure out is we want to make sure that we have some really great textures, okay? We need to make sure that we have some paper texture, and we want to make sure that we have things like our background, like maybe a wood background. I think wood is really fitting with this kind of Western boho type style, so we're going to take a look at that as well. Now, when I'm creating my digital planners and journals, I like to make them as realistic and lifelike as possible. I like for my customer to open up the digital planner that they purchased from me and feel like they're flipping through the pages of a real paper planner, okay? Now, that might not be your exact style, and if it isn't, that's okay, but that's something that I always shoot for. And for that reason, I think that it's really important, if you have that realistic urge as well, to have a really great paper bundle to use, okay? Now this bundle is going to have a bunch of different paper grains in it, different styles of texture, and you're going to have white pages or maybe off-white pages as well as some craft paper options, alright? Now, you can choose to get colored paper if you want. A lot of times you'll find that these bundles have just white color or an off-white color, and you can open them up within a program like Photoshop or Affinity Publisher, and you can add a color to that paper, export it as another PNG, and then add it to your document. So if you're wondering why you keep seeing white paper pop up, but you're looking for colored, that would be why. But I typically like to just keep with the neutral colors for my pages and just like a plain color for the craft paper. Now, in order to find these bundles, what I would recommend is putting in a search just for paper texture bundle, okay? And you're going to get a ton of results. You can see here that there are over 1 million just from this search. So instead of going through all of this, I'm just going to share with you one that I really love. Let me see if I can find her. It's from an artist called Lisa Glantz, and she has beautiful stuff. I have almost all of her things, but this seamless paper right here is fabulous. So you can see here that it's showing color. These pages will not come in color. She has instructions on how to use different programs in order to add color to it. But let me just go through the different options here. So you can see we have all of these white colors with different textures on them. And then we have like this cream color set as well. And then we have the craft paper. So I use this particular bundle exclusively. You can feel free to find one that fits your needs, or you can grab this one as well. I'll have it linked for you down below, but it's just a very high quality bundle, and I think you're gonna love it, okay? Alright, so we have our paper texture here, and then what we want to make sure is that we have something for the background. You could always do a solid color for your background if you wanted to. I like to make it look like the background of my design is a desktop. So you can do different textures for that. You can do marble. You could even do a pattern if you wanted to. You could do corkboard. I do that sometimes, but I think for this particular project, because it is kind of like that Wild West and we're connected to nature and all of that, I want to have wood, you know, kind of like you would find driftwood out somewhere. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to head back. Well, let's just open a new tab here. And we'll type in wood. Now, you can try a couple different search terms for this. I go back and forth between wood texture and wood pattern and wood background. So sometimes you'll get different results for each one. So let's just start with wood texture. Sometimes with this particular search, I'll find more like illustrated versus actual wood. So let's do wood background. Here we go. Now with these, I typically like to find a bundle as well, with different shades, different styles, so that you're kind of getting more bang for your buck. You can use it in different ways for all of your different projects. Let's try wood pattern. Ooh, okay, so we have 40 seamless wood textures. Let's see this one here. This is a good one. I have all of these different colors. And I like this because a lot of people seem to use like this very distinct distressed wood background that can kind of be overdone, but these are more of a simple, I think, classy look. So this one would be a really good one. I can link this one for y'all. So let me keep that open. Duplicate this. Go back and see if there are any others. Now sometimes there are different maybe looks that you want within the wood, like herringbone or something like that is one that I really like. So you could do narrow down your keywords for a specific type of wood as well. Ooh, that one's nice. I really like that one a lot. It's kind of different. So just kind of go through. You can see that a lot of people here, it looks like they're selling individual. I would probably try to stay away from these fake wood. I don't think that they look that great, but if you love it, then just snatch it up. But I wonder if I type in bundle, if we'd get more options. Wood pattern. Is it pattern or background? I think pattern. Bundle. Another thing that you can do too, which I didn't, so maybe I'll go back and do, is you can go to that particular artist and see if they have more options. Let's do that. Alright, so here we are, and it doesn't look like that's going to be the case with this one. That's alright. So we'll go back. Here we are. And let's maybe put in a texture. So type in herringbone wood pattern, and these are pretty. So this is where I'm talking about where you can have the different textures, or maybe you could do a search for parquet if that's something that you like. But just make sure that you find some that you really love, and also pay attention to the different colors and how they look with your patterns, because one color of wood may not look really great with a specific color palette, but another color of wood would. Okay, so just make sure that you're looking at the big picture when you're picking these things out. All right, so now we have our clip art, we have our patterns, we have our fonts, we have our wood background, we have our paper texture. And the last thing that I want to help you take a look at is going to be what I call scene creators, okay? These are going to be bundles that have a ton of different lifelike elements. They'll have coffee cups, pencils, they may have some devices like phones and iPads. But what we really want to pay attention to, because this is a boho style that's very based off of nature, we want to find nature elements, like maybe some driftwood, tumbleweeds, sand texture, leaves, tree branches, flowers, all of those kinds of things that are really going to give that very like free-spirited natural look with our design. Okay, so we are going to find those in what are called scene creators. So let's take a look at those. Now, I like bringing real-life elements into my digital planner and journal designs because just like with the digital paper that has the actual paper texture, these real-life elements added to your design are just going to help to create that illusion that your customer is looking at a real paper planner versus a PDF document, okay? Now, probably the question that I get most when people look at my designs is, how do you find all of these elements? And the key is always by finding a really good scene creator. Now, a scene creator is going to be a bundle of a whole bunch of different elements, okay? They're going to be real life elements that look like actual photographs of particular things that you find in real life, like leaves, flowers, pencils, coffee cups, all of that. But they're going to have transparent backgrounds, and if you find a good one, they're also going to have very realistic drop shadows, okay? So you can take that individual leaf, put it on your design, it's going to have a drop shadow on it already, and it's going to look like a real life leaf has dropped onto your design, okay, which is the look that we're going for. So here in Creative Market, I'm going to do the search for scene creators. Now, one thing to really make sure that you have before you purchase is you need to make sure that they're going to be offered to you in PNGs, okay? You don't want JPEGs because JPEGs are not going to have a transparent background. Instead, it's going to be like a white box with the element in it. You also need to make sure that it's not just made for Photoshop, which a lot of them are. I wouldn't say that most of them are, but there are a fair number that are made specifically for Photoshop. And unless you have Photoshop, you're not going to get access to those elements. So you need to make sure that whatever bundle it is that you purchase has PNGs, okay? Alright, so you can see that there are a ton of options here. We have over 290,000, so we're definitely going to want to utilize our keywords. But I just want you to see how many different options we have out here. There are going to be options that are specifically for devices. There will be floral options, wedding options. And sometimes I'll go a little bit out of the box to find exactly what it is that I'm looking for. But here, let's just go ahead and let's start with Boho Scene Creator and see if we get any options popping up for us. So here's one that's titled Boho Scene Creator, but there's one thing I want to point out is we don't want to just go with any scene creator that contains our theme. We want to make sure that our elements are flat lay. So that means that an element is lying down on a desktop and you're looking down on top of it like an aerial view. These, it looks like, are going to be for the most part front view, which means it's going to look like you're looking at it front on. And that obviously isn't going to work because our digital planner and journal creations are lying down on a desktop. And while these are quite cute, they're not going to be quite what we're looking for. Alright, so let's go back. And sometimes, with the scene creators, it might be wise to skip over the boho part and instead find a bundle that you can use over and over again for a lot of different things. Alright, so I'm going to switch up the keywords here a bit, and I'm going to say a nature scene creator. Let's take a look at this one, the modern home and studio scene creator. This one feels like it may have some kind of boho-y elements in here. Alright, so this one you can see it has some pencils. Like the solid wood one here would be really good. I like this white striped one. We have all of these clips, which I really like using. This actually has some really cute stuff in it. Oh, that's super cute. You can see there are a lot of like wood and natural elements in this one. We have some leaves. That'll be good. And then we have our coffee cups and everything. What I like about this one is it has some like boho type elements, but there are a lot of things in here that you could use for a lot of different projects. This is always nice. There's if you do printables, you can see here that we have a lot of different sizes of paper that already have drop shadows attached to it. So if you are someone who finds drop shadows kind of intimidating, something like this would be a really nice tool to have. We have our envelopes. And then we have some backgrounds, and this one even already has some wood backgrounds with it. So if you wanted to not necessarily have to purchase the wood on top of this particular bundle, this would be a great option. And then there are shadow overlays. I love shadow overlays, so that's a really good thing to have as well. And then it has some mock-ups. So this would be a really great bundle. Let's go back and look at the rest of the details. We want to make sure that we get PNGs. We want to make sure that it's high quality. And let's see what else we need to make sure that we have here. Alright. Oh, and we need to check on the price. Okay, so this one's $42. I would say that that is a really good deal for all of the things you get. You can see that you're going to get more than 374 items. This does say that it is compatible with Adobe Photoshop and with Adobe Photo. Now, sometimes, even though it's compatible with those programs, it's still going to include PNGs, so we need to make sure. It is a 300 DPI, and you can see right here what's included. It has the Photoshop documents, but it also has PNGs and JPEGs. Alright, so let's preview those files. Oh, this one's not going to let you preview them. All of them are going, it looks like they're going to deliver you a PDF document that has a link that will take you to the elements. But we've confirmed here we have 276 isolated objects that are PNGs. Okay, so I think that this is going to be the perfect option for this project. So I'll include this in the links for the branding kit as well, if you'd like to grab it and use it for your designs. Alright, so you can see here that we are now inside of Canva, and I have started creating my Cowgirl Boho mood board. Now, if you prefer to not have to create your entire mood board from scratch, what I would recommend that you do is, instead of opening up a new document, head over to the Canva templates, do a search for mood boards, and you'll find there are a whole bunch of ready-made options for you that are going to have these grid spots and such just ready to go. Once you have that document open, then you're going to want to make sure that you have uploaded all of the elements that you plan to use within your design. So you can see here that I have actually created a new project folder titled, that has the title of this design. You don't have to get that specific with it if you don't want to, but I find that it helps me to keep everything organized. I have brought in all of my clip art. You can see I've got my little pencil right here that I'd like to use. I have a shadow overlay. I have my paper textures, my wood background, the pattern that I plan on using, and I have some natural leaves and things like that. You can see here that I also have some photos, but I'm going to touch on those in just a moment. So I always like to start by choosing my color palette, okay? That's going to be what really ties everything together. And the easiest way to create your color palette is by simply bringing in the pattern or the clip arts that you plan on using within your design. So I'm going to click on this blue pattern here, okay? And I'm going to use this pattern to fill up all of the colors here within my color palette. Now I have 6 colors here available. I think I probably am going to use 6. Probably 2 of those are going to be neutrals. Alright, you want to make sure that you're not having so many colors that that the design becomes chaotic, but it's okay to have a handful of bright colors in here. So I'm going to click on one of the circles. I'm going to then come on up here and click on my color wheel. And one thing that I like about Canva is once you bring an image onto your document, you can then pull from those colors. So I'm going to come down here to where we see photo colors, and I'm going to start choosing specific colors that I like from this. Now you're not limited to these colors, but I am going to choose the ones that I know I like. So I'll click on this one here, and let's do green. Oops. And then we've got this clay-like color. And I'm going to click on this white. Let's see what else. I think that's good from these here. It looks like it hasn't pulled that brown color, so I am going to come up here. And I'm going to click on this little plus mark instead. I'm going to grab my color picker and I'll click on this brown. Alright. Then what I want to do is, since I'm going to be using this craft paper quite a bit, I want to add that into here as well. So I'm going to bring this down. I'll click on my little circle again. Oops. And I'll grab my color picker. I'll just touch on here, okay? Alright, so that is going to be my color palette. Now what I want to do is, I want to find the hex codes for all of these. This is going to be really handy because once you actually begin creating your design in whatever software program it is that you're using, instead of having to guess at the exact color, or having to figure it out once you're in that software program, if you have these hex codes here, you can just copy and paste them over to Keynote or Affinity Publisher or wherever it is that you're creating. So it's just going to save you a little step. So I'm going to click on this color wheel. I'll click on the color wheel up here. I'm going to click on this plus mark, and then you can see we have the hex code here. So I'm just going to copy that, and I'll paste it in. And then I'm going to do that for each of these colors. And once I have these in, what I like to do is I like to replace some of the colors within my mood board, like maybe this stripe here along the top and such, just to make sure that all of the colors here in my design are a reflection of what I'll be adding to my digital planner. One more. Now I typically don't use a straight black within my design, but if you do prefer to have your fonts, maybe some of your calendar aspects and stuff with a black color, then you could add that to your color palette as well. But let's see here. So I'm going to change all of my text to that brown. It'll probably be faster for me to just do that. Go. And let's change these colors up a little bit too. Okay, so we've got our colors down, and this is going to be our color palette. Now, if you decide to, you could choose to change up the tone a little bit. So let's say I want this to be just a little bit darker. So I'd click on this here, I would click on my add new color, and I could just make that a little bit deeper if I wanted to, okay? But you can choose to tweak however you'd like until you get the exact look it is, or the exact look that you're looking for. Okay, so the next thing I like to do is I like to fill in these grids here. So I'm going to snap that in there, bring in craft paper, got this, and this here. And then sometimes what I like to do is I like to bring in a photograph that really has the mood of what it is that I'm looking for. So in order to find these photographs, what you would do is just come on over here to Elements. There we go. And just do a search for whatever your theme is. So let's just go with Cowgirl. Boho. And I'll click on Photos. And then I just kind of scroll through until I felt like I'd found a specific photo that matched well with my design. And you don't have to do this step, but I do find that it's helpful to me. But I already have a few in the folder that I had found, so I'm going to hop back on over to that, and let me pull this one. Alright. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my fonts, okay? So I'm going to grab a text box. I'm actually going to grab 3 text boxes. Oops. One more. Alright, and I'm going to fill these with the fonts that I've selected for this design. So I'm going to click here, I'll click on my font at the top, and we're going to start with that main big bold Western text. And what I like to do also is I'm going to replace whatever the text is with the title of the font. This is going to make it easier for you to find what you need when you are within your design as well. I'm going to change the color. Let's make it a little bit bigger and easier to see. Here we are. Okay, and now we'll go on to the next one. So the next one is our Rodeo Cowgirls. Make that one a little bit bigger as well. And then the third one, if you remember, is just going to be our plain Jane font. And there we go. Right, so now we have our fonts. The next thing I want to do is I want to start bringing in my clip art. So I'm going to go back to my project folder, and I'll just start picking out specific ones that I like. and you can throw it anywhere. It's okay if things overlap. You might want to try to not overlap your hex codes so that they're easy for you to copy and paste later on. And you don't need to bring in all of your clip art, absolutely everything that you have discovered, because honestly, if you were to bring in all of these things, it would be too much for your design anyway, so maybe just pick and choose a few of your favorites. And you can always change your mind about the ones that you use later on. That's probably good for now. Alright, so I have those in there, and let's see, what else do we need to bring in? We want to bring in some of our fun elements, our lifestyle elements. And what else have we got? Got our leaves. We are, and then we've got our shadow overlays. I need to bring down that opacity. Go. And actually, probably want to do that a little bit differently, so that I'm not covering up those hex codes again. So I'm going to flip this. And bring it down here instead. Alright, and there we go. So I've got all of my elements here together. I can take a good look to see if any of the colors are angry at each other or not quite working together. I might find that maybe something is missing and I need to find a few more elements and such to add. But I really like how all of these things look together, and I have a feeling that it's going to really communicate the vision that I have in my head. Alright, so you now have all of the elements that you need to create a beautiful cowgirl boho design. The only thing left for you to decide is whether you'd like to create your digital planner from scratch or whether you'd prefer to customize the template. Either way is perfectly fine. It just depends on what works for you in your personal situation. So let's say that you decide you'd like to create from scratch, okay? I would recommend, if you don't already know how, that you grab my Extraordinary Digital Planner Design course. In this course, I'm going to show you from start to finish how to create a beautiful digital planner design, okay? And I will have a link for you down below in the description for that, or you can visit cupcakeshaystacks.com. Now, let's say that you don't necessarily want to put in the time right now to create a digital planner from scratch, or maybe you just find the idea of creating from the ground up a little bit intimidating at the moment. What I would recommend then is that you choose a digital planner template that works well for you. And I have a couple different options for you, but the example I'm going to show you here is from my Dreamy Dated Digital Planner template. Now, this is a project that I created with my business partner and friend, Michelle Simpkin of Wild and Solo, and we think that you are going to love these templates. So they are fully dated, fully hyperlinked. This particular option is for 2025, but we update these templates every year, okay? So no matter what year it is that you're purchasing, you're going to find an option that's relevant to that current year. You can see here also that this is a one-page portrait style, but these templates actually come in 3 different versions. We have the one-page portrait, but then we also have a one-page landscape style, and then our best-selling 2-page landscape style. Okay, so no matter what your digital planner style preference is, you're going to find a version that works for you. So let's go ahead and just scroll through these here. And this won't be every single page that's available within this template. There's actually more than 500 pages, and so I don't think you want to see me scroll through all of those, so I've just picked a handful of different ones to show you. In this, you can see that we have our cover here. We have worked in that clip art, our craft paper, our lifestyle elements. We have a shadow overlay. And then we have this little intro page. You can see that there are subject tabs along the top, monthly tabs along the side. We have our title page. And then this is going to be the January divider, and everywhere where you see in the center there where it says calendar and then January 1st through the 7th, all of those are going to be hyperlinked, and they'll take you directly to those specific weeks within the month. We have our month at a glance, and we have, this is one of our weekly planning pages, our daily, and then we have our back cover here. Okay, so that's just a little preview of what you can expect to find within these templates. So I will also have the link for these templates below in the description. They will be on the branding kit that you can download, and you can find them at cupcakeshaystacks.com. So if you loved this tutorial, this branding video, make sure to like this video and then subscribe to my channel so you can see more like them in the future. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I hope you have a beautiful day.